Skinny Hardaway 7T, back with another EP. And y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Today I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't know if this your first time, but if you could, not make it your last time, just do your boy a favor, smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. All sports, all day. You know what I mean? Today I'm here with a little different EP. This Southern T EP is pertaining to Jermall Charlo. Now I know when we hear, I know when we, when we talk, when we hear or we talk about Jermall Charlo, right? It's normally for a bunch of bad stuff, or it's normally, to jump on them, to pile on them. These days we talking about his family all the time, his wife, and all that good shit. You know what I mean? We talking about, what he ain't done and all that good stuff, right? Well, today we here with a little different be. Today we gonna tell you about the stuff that they don't want to tell you. We gonna tell you about the stuff that they not going to report. We gonna tell you about, the good news, right? Because when this was reported, everybody had a story to say. Everybody had a story to write. Everybody had a story to shoot. But I guarantee you, you'll be able to count on your hand how many people report this story, because this story ain't full of mess. This story ain't full of drama. This story is actually a positive. This story actually refutes the previous story. This story, you know what I mean, ain't gonna get you as many clicks and as many views as, a story about him going to jail, or a story about him and his wife getting into a dispute. You know what I mean? This one isn't going to necessarily do that type of, isn't going to necessarily get that type of traction. You know what I mean? But yesterday, the Texas courts had filed a motion to relieve Jermall Charlo of acquit Jermall Charlo of his charges, his assault charges, and now Jermall Charlo will be free to resume his career. You know what I mean? Jermall Charlo had to pull out of that Selecki fight, because of an injury, an undisclosed injury. Now I'm not inside the camp or next to the camp, but I knew that it was more going on than injury for Selecki. I knew that it was more than what meets the surface. I actually said on my show that I didn't truly believe that Selecki was injured and that Charlo had other reason to pull out of that fight. And I do still feel that way. And now with this news coming out, I'm not saying that this was the reason, but I had an idea, right? It was either one or two things. At first, originally I thought, okay, well, Charlo just didn't want to fight Selecki. But then I started to think, yeah, well, I know Charlo, he was going through a lot of legal issues, you know what I mean, type deal. But it comes to find out that it was the legal situation. He wasn't all the way focused in on the task at hand of Selecki. And if you go in there on focus, that's how these fighters, get hurt. So Charlo ended up pulling out of the Selecki fight due to an injury. You know what I mean? But he had all of this going on in the midst of that, right? But I'm about to read from you the article, exactly where I got this from, so y'all can know that I ain't out here pulling y'all leg. Jermall Charlo is free to resume his boxing career. Boxing Scene has confirmed that the WBC middleweight champion will no longer face felony assault charges stemming from a family incident in the late summer. The state of Texas filed a motion to dismiss a hearing Monday afternoon in the 268th District Court of Fort Bend County, Texas. The motion comes down one day after a scheduled discovery hearing, which has now been canceled. According to the court records obtained by Boxing Scene, the state no longer wishes to proceed based on the reason of no longer to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. Charlo, 32-0, previously faced one count of assault causing bodily harm of a family member stemming from the incident last September 5th, allegedly that he struck his 21-year-old nephew during a Labor Day gathering at a Fort Bend County home. Charlo had long contended his innocence in the case, which was supported by witnesses who came forward on behalf of the boxer. The statements, the statements and newfound evidence provided to the state did not support the charges filed to the point where the state believed a jury would find Charlo guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The development puts an end. They messed up. The development puts an end to a year-long ordeal with his family, a matter which officially became police business in January. Charlo was arrested and booked on February 11th before being released on February 14th on the condition of home monitoring at the time of the release. The condition was modified by the court upon learning that Charlo was in training for a scheduled fight, as he was due at the time to defend his title against Selecki on June 18th in his hometown of Houston, Texas. The alleged incident in question will have normally considered a misdemeanor charge for a first-time offender. However, Charlo was charged as a repeat offender due to a prior conviction in 2015 in Nevada. According to a copy of the affidavit obtained by boxing scene, it is further presented in the aforesaid case. The defendant was convicted in Clark County, Nevada, of an assault involving family violence. It's further presented to said court that prior to the commission of aforesaid offense, because the alleged incident in question took place during the pandemic, Charlo was subject to enhanced punishment. The arrest affidavit noted the alleged incident was committed in the area that was at the time of the offense, subject to declaration of a state disaster made by the President of the United States under the Robert T. Stanford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, or the governor or the presiding office of the governing body of a political subdivision, or subject to an emergency evacuation order. So basically, all that said in English, right? All that said in English is that Charlo has been acquitted of his case because lack of evidence and reasonable doubt. I wanted to be the first one to report this because I know nobody else is going to report this. I didn't even have one single comment on here. I bet you if this video had said Charlo beats the hell out of his wife, I would have had a lot of you motherfuckers clicking on here. But because, this was good news and this wasn't mess, watch how all the people who quit to report all that mess, all these people who's supposed to be boxing journalists, right? Watch how quick they be, to support and to talk about a man's wife. Watch how quick. Yeah, I know you bitch ass niggas leaving. Watch how quick they be to talk about, some foul shit. But watch, nobody takes the time to talk about this man being acquitted of his charges. That mean all them charges that y'all was talking shit about earlier, all them charges, that y'all was getting all them views and super chats off of earlier. That mean all that shit was all for naught because he got equipped of the charges. So make sure y'all do y'all due diligence and tell them that Charlo got off just like you did when Charlo went in, you bitch ass niggas. But I appreciate everybody sliding through this John Skin Hardaway 7T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Love.